Good morning, members. It is appointed time and we have a quorum. I call to order the meeting. Before we begin, I remind members that I may have to go to the room next door for another meeting. I will invite the Deputy Chairman to stand in for me in a moment. Thank you. Item 1, Promotion of Qualifications Framework. We will now invite the representatives from the Education Bureau to come in. Members who would like to speak, please press the button. I will now invite Dr. Jeff Z, Undersecretary for Education, to brief us. Good morning, Chairman and members. The Hong Kong Qualifications Framework, or QF, was launched on the 5th of May 2008. It is a clear and well-defined hierarchy covering various qualifications, seek to enhance the quality, professionalism, and competitiveness of our workforce and enhance sustainable manpower developments. We achieve that through 3 directions. 1, define clear and objective standards. That is, objective, transparent, and clear standards applicable to qualifications in the academic, vocational, and professional, as well as continuing education sectors. 2, assuring the quality of qualifications and the associated learning programs available to learners. And 3, assure relevancy of learning to industry needs. We have been supporting the development of qualification frameworks. The ITACs, or Industry Training Advisory Committees, have been set up for 23 industries, covering more than 50% of our workforce. The Secretariat of the HKCAAVQ has been supporting the ITACs to develop training tools according to industry needs, set up qualification standards, and designing courses. Also, through a multi-pronged approach, the Secretariat and the Education Bureau have been working with the ITACs to promote the application of the QFs. Now, in the 2002 policy address to enhance the education and job opportunities for young people, the government will extend the scope of the application of qualifications to cover at least 18 industries by 2025. We will continue to update the tools under the qualification frameworks. For example, the competency standards, recognition of prior learning, vocational qualifications pathway, professional qualifications recognition, and qualification framework credits and credits accumulation and transfer. The paper has set out the details concerning the previous fields. Now, to enhance recognition of QFs, the government has been working with stakeholders and employers and industries to launch targeted promotional campaign. For example, ITACs has launched the award scheme for learning experience together with the Education Bureau and QF Secretariat to encourage practitioners who have excelled in continuous learning to broaden their horizons by participating in learning activities worldwide. Through experience workshops, special workplace experience workshops, online seminars, and briefing sessions, the Secretariat has been helping senior secondary students to understand different industries more. The QF in Action is a biennial initiative that commands and encourages organizations to create QF projects covering government departments, educational institutions, business corporations, and NGOs, which seeks to enhance the understanding and awareness of QFs by the public. Besides, we have been sharing our experience with the country and other jurisdictions. Various collaborative activities have been held. We are contributing our experience to the country as well. In 2016, the letter of intent on qualifications framework cooperation between Hong Kong and Guangdong was signed between Education Bureau and the Department of Education of Guangdong Province. That was in 2019. The letter of intent promotes close collaboration to establish a framework, qualification framework in Guangdong. And in early 2022, the HKCAVQ has been providing a 2-year consultancy service to the Guangdong province to support the development of the qualifications framework in Guangdong. We look forward to working closely with industries and stakeholders to develop the tools under the qualification framework to enhance the recognition of the QF so as to enhance Hong Kong's manpower quality. I welcome questions and views from members. Thank you, Deputy Under-Secretary. The members' speaking order is Ms. Lilian Kwok, Mr. Lam Chun-Sing, Dennis Leung, Chow Siu-Chung, Professor Chow Wing-Kwong, and Mr. Xiu Ka-Fai. 5 minutes each. Ms. Lilian Kwok. Good morning, Chairman, and good morning, Under-Secretary. Now about the 2019 Letter of Intent. I believe this is important for us to integrate with the national development blueprints in terms of qualification frameworks. Now, our QF has been recognized by European and Western countries. On the other hand, our country is now exploring the way forward to establish a mutual recognition mechanism with ours. Now, 5 years have passed. Now, what about achieving mutual recognition with the qualifications offered by the departments of HRSS? Now, 80 to 90% are classroom-related courses. Now, can we start with these programs? About development of qualification frameworks courses in secondary school. Now, when I was working in secondary school, there were only 3 secondary schools promoting such courses. By last year, there were already 10. In one school, there were 10 courses in relation to QFs. It proves the higher demand for QF courses in secondary schools. We are now promoting the dual development pathways. So besides the SE, there should be another pathway for senior secondary students. These courses should be packed with post-secondary institutions. According to data, for schools with QF courses, senior secondary students can pursue a meaningful academic life after secondary education. So we need to give schools real support to develop QF courses. Now, the 23 industries ITACs, it is an advisory mechanism, but there are a lot of changes in the world. Every year, the country would tell us what the emerging sectors are. There are usually a dozen of them each year. Now, the 23 ITACs, when will their structure be updated to meet the changing needs of the industries? Under-Secretary, thank you, Ms. Kwok, for your 3 questions. About the letter of intent on qualifications framework cooperation between Hong Kong and Guangdong, signed in 2019. Starting from 2022, the HKCAAVQ accepted the invitation from the Guangdong provincial government to provide a 2-year consultancy service to the letter. Now, the contract has completed by the 3rd quarter of 2024. The HKCAVQ will continue to provide support for the development of a lifelong qualification framework in Guangdong. About the mutual recognition of QFs. Now, that's about mutual recognition of sub-degree qualifications on both sides. We are pursuing that on 3 fronts. First of all, we will strive to sign a MOU with the Ministry of Education on this. Second, through HKCAVQ, we will engage in further detailed discussion on the rollout of mutually recognized QF courses and accreditation. Third, we will conduct timely review on the mutual recognition system. On the third question about QF courses in secondary schools, most students would take the DSE, and the qualifications awarded by the DSE is also part of the qualification framework at QF level 3. And there are courses designed and implemented by individual schools themselves. After accreditation, these courses would also be awarded a QF award. There are similar courses in both mainstream and special schools. We believe we should provide an opportunity for diversified developments according to the needs and character and streams of students. Now, besides Category A courses in the QF, there are also languages and applied skills courses. These courses can provide a meaningful learning experience to students. About keeping the IDACs up to date, I agree that there are a number of emerging industries and hence new job positions. Now, if these jobs are covered by the 23 IDACs already, since the IDACs are comprised with employers, trade representatives, and representatives from the government, they are well aware of the latest developments and situation of the respective industries. That's why we will support IDACs to keep their competency standards up to date with the emerging job types and emerging trends in the market. Concerning the establishment of new IDACs for emerging industries, well, I believe we need a more in-depth discussion. Chairman, allow me to clarify something. I'm not talking about sub-degree programs. Now, the Department of HRSS has a vocational framework. So in terms of aligning senior secondary students with the industries, there should be more study. That's all I want to say. Mr. Lam Chun Sing, thank you, Chairman. I declare interest. My organization offers QF courses. I'm also a member of the working group to promote VPAT and qualification framework. I was also a member of the committee of QF Fund. Now, there are 23 IDACs as mentioned by Ms. Lillian Kwok, and I agree that the structure of these IDACs should be reviewed from time to time, and new IDACs should be established for emerging trades. Now, the Manpower projection report was just published. There are emerging fields like AI, which we have a serious shortage of talent. Now, according to the answer given by Dr. Jeff See, it seems that we can subsume AI under the existing category. However, it is a very important trend, and we have a serious shortage of relevant professionals. So maybe with a separate IDAC, we can be more targeted in terms of enhancing the training for AI professionals. Now, in the past, for masseurs and trainer, some IDACs were of the view that these trades are not related to their industries. So many masseurs would like to have their own ITACs in order to come up with industry-specific competency standards. So we should take it seriously and try to establish new ITACs for emerging industries.
Now I turn to my second point. Now it's about the qualifications framework. Some industries didn't really take part. In the electrical and mechanical services industry, just 900 or so people took part in the recognition scheme. They felt they didn't need it. They just need an electrician's license from the EMST, and then they can find jobs everywhere. Some people emigrate with their electrician's license, and they can find work. So they feel no need for the recognition of prior qualifications. So can we include these licenses under the qualifications framework? We're talking about people already with electricians' licenses. Can we match that with a certain level under the qualifications framework? That way, those workers know roughly where they stand under the QF framework, and then they can pursue further studies or whatever. Or is the HKCAA VQ struggling with putting a level for those prior qualifications? So can we put more qualifications under the QF? Now, we had a discussion about the matching or benchmarking of our QF with those of the EU or New Zealand. Hong Kong is trying to develop into an international education hub. So when it comes to the referencing of our QF, can we pursue more such efforts with other places, such as the Belt and Road countries and ASEAN countries? So those are my questions. Under Secretary. Thank you, Chairman. I thank Mr. Lam Chen Sing for his work as a trade union leader in promoting the QF. Now, Mr. Lam's first question has to do with emerging or new job functions. He cited the example of artificial intelligence and its impact on the workplace. AI is bringing revolutionary changes to different industries, and the impact covers more than just the I&T sector. Other sectors also feel the impact. That's why we also focus on digital education and AI literacy in basic education. Workers in different industries need to know what AI is. That's why under QF, we have this specification of generic foundation competencies, and they cover languages, numeracy, and information technology. These are generic skills people need. So we don't just compartmentalize AI as a single area. Instead, we treat that as a generic competency. There are ITACs for different industries. These ITACs can look at the impact of AI on their respective industries, say the impact on the specification of generic foundation competencies or SGCs. They can discuss those matters. The member wondered about the need for new ITACs. We keep an open mind about that. The member cited different examples. What matters is this. In each industry, there has to be a real need for the ITAC, and the industry stakeholders have to have a consensus about forming an ITAC, and they have to be ready for that. Now, on the recognition of prior qualifications, or prior learning, recognition of prior learning. Technical qualifications are needed for different jobs. And that's why we have the recognition of prior learning, RPL, as a mechanism. There are workers with experience but may lack the qualifications. RPL is there to help them get the qualifications. The point is to avoid duplicate training. We don't want an existing practitioner already with the skills to have to undergo the training covering exactly the same ground. The government has commissioned different evaluation bodies to provide RPL services covering different industries. Recognition of qualifications is already going on for some industries, such as the Marine Department and also the Hong Kong Aviation Association. In those cases, you have a local body. They look at the qualifications and work experience of industries, and then they run written exams. Once people pass those exams, those bodies grant the qualifications. So those qualifications aren't earned just by taking courses. Mr. Lam cited electricians' licenses. The Vocational Training Council offers similar courses on those areas. On matching a license with a certain level under the QF, we can leave that matter to discussions under the QF framework, and they can see what they can do about that. Now, the third question on promoting our QF framework to more places such as the Belt and Road countries. That's a great idea. The QF Secretariat and the HKCA AVQ can look at this idea and pursue further overseas promotion. Next, Mr. Dennis Leung. Chairman, we have the QF framework. That framework puts courses at different levels so that people know which level they're at when they pursue courses. And that ties in with lifelong learning and continuous learning. This is to help people pursue continuous enhancements, and then society as a whole can benefit. Now, one key part of the recognition of qualifications is the recognition of prior learning. There are sectors where qualifications or skills weren't developed through learning, say in the garments industry or publishing. Those skills weren't picked up through learning in the classroom. So we helped some such practitioners acquire a QF qualification, say at level 3. But then these workers didn't see much of a difference after acquiring the QF level. They work in the same industry, nothing changed. So the question is, once people get a recognition under the QF framework, do people get higher pay? Say teachers with an undergraduate degree, those teachers are teachers recognized by the Education Bureau, and then these teachers can then pursue a postgraduate diploma in education. With that diploma, those teachers get higher pay, 2 points higher in the pay scale. But then for the RPL scheme, no such arrangement is in place. So we are struggling to encourage people to get the recognition. They get all the paperwork in, they go through the process, and then workers realize the recognition makes no difference for them. So are there different directions that the QF framework may be moving in? Can we adjust the pay for people? And that's how you can encourage people to seek enhancement. So that's something the government should review. Over the past decade, transformations took place in certificates and diplomas. There was the Hong Kong HKCAE, and then we also had the A-level exams. Now those exams are gone. Now people move from junior to senior secondary schools once they make it past secondary 3. I know it's a new structure we have. But we don't see the QF framework reflected in the recruitment requirements of government posts. The government's requirements are stuck in the requirements decades ago. Say a job may require a primary education or secondary 3, and that's it. So can the government lead by example? By showing people how the QF work in their career. Undersecretary, I thank Mr. Leung for his questions. His questions are interrelated to each other. First, the pay and conditions. It's up to the employers to decide what to offer. On promotion and publicity, this is an area that matters even more. The QF framework sets out competency standards. It's there to help employers hire people who fit the bill that will help businesses. This also helps address the mismatch of workers and skills. That way, workers have the skills that businesses need. The member raised the point about the government setting or leading by example. Now, on the use of language from the qualifications framework in recruitment, the Education Bureau has started adopting the language of the QF framework from 2016. So the minimum requirement may be equal to a certain level under the QF framework. So the Education Bureau has started doing this. This helps job applicants, and this also helps raise public awareness of the QF framework. Other departments, the Housing Department, the CEDD, the Civil Aid Service, and also the University Grants Committee Secretariat also adopt the language of the QF framework in recruiting and tendering. Now, as for promotion among other departments, we will also keep working on that. Mr. Dennis Leung raised a point in particular. On academic qualifications, we should indeed move with the times in our publicity. There's government recruitment. The HKCAAVQ also tries to step up publicity to raise awareness of the QF among the public. It will step up publicity on all fronts. We help the public with continuous learning. The Employees Retraining Board offers courses. Those courses are also recognized, and those courses accept QF recognized courses as prerequisites for those courses. QF courses are also covered by the Continuing Education Fund. These are examples help to raise awareness among employers and practitioners of the QF framework.
Mr. Chao Siu-chung. Thank you, Chairman. Over the past 20 years, the Federation of Labor Union has been working closely with the government in promoting the development of the QF. We have been encouraging various labor unions to collaborate with the HKCAVQ to promote the development of a specific QF for the industry. So when the QF becomes more comprehensive, workers in various sectors can see clearly where the career path will take them and how they can ascend the ladder. Paragraph 12 of the document mentioned that in the 2022 policy address, the government will extend the number of industries covered by the QF to 18 by 2027. So there are still 6 left before the target is reached. Now, with a clear ladder under the QF, a worker can select the most appropriate course to take to maximize their chance for promotion. For example, from a health carer from a care worker to a health carer to a health worker, a candidate will understand clearly what courses they need to take to reach the goal. So there are still 6 industries remain to be incorporated into the QF before the target is reached. What is the timetable for that? I think the success of our efforts can be shown by the number of ITACs under the HKCAVQ. I think over the past 6 or 7 years, we don't have any new ITACs formed. Now there are some 22 ITACs covering 23 industries. The workforce coverage is only 50%. So besides the parts of the workforce covered by ITACs, is it the case that the remaining industries without ITACs already have a clear qualification framework so that they don't need the QF? Or is there great difficulties to extend the reach of the QFs or the ITACs to the remaining industries? And do we have a target to extend the coverage of the ITACs to a higher percentage of the workforce? Under Secretary. Thank you, Chairman, and thank you, Dr. Chao. Now, the policy targets set in the 2022 policy address, as mentioned by Dr. Chao, 12 industries have formulated a specific QF ladder. Now, there are more than 210 QF courses for these industries. The 13th industry is the tourism sector. The QF ladder for the tourism industry will be available in the first half of the year. For the remaining industries, we are working towards the direction mentioned by Dr. Chao. We will work closely with the other industries to develop the vocational qualification pathways, or VQPs. Now, as mentioned by Dr. Chow, VQP is widely recognized by employers. For those industries with VQPs established, we have heard a lot of good things from these industries. For the remaining ones, we are working closely with the industries to establish VQPs, which suits the needs of the industries. Now, 23 industries have ITACs set up covering more than half of the workforce. For industries without their own ITACs, they can still benefit from the various measures and tools under the QFs. For example, industries without ITACs are entitled to subsidies from the QF fund to provide accreditation or assessment services through qualification framework credits and qualification credit accumulation and transfer mechanism. Their qualifications can still be recognized. Now, among the ITACs, those jobs in the construction industries are widely covered. In the construction industry, the Construction Industry Council is already serving a similar function with the ITACs. Another major group is the civil service. The vocational qualification pathways are already very clear within the civil service. That being so, we will continue to pursue a wider scope of ITACs. Changes in demographic structure and other factors have led to emerging trends and challenges. So we'll continue to review our strategies in view of the latest trends and changes. Professor William Chan, thank you. Now, many job seekers complain that QF recognized qualifications are not accepted by employers. Now, on job advertisements, we often see employers looking for academic accreditation rather than QF qualifications. So will the HKCA, AVQ, and the government take the lead in accepting qualifications under QF rather than academic qualifications? Now, as mentioned by the Undersecretary, in government job advertisements and also some government-funded bodies, job requirements are phrased in QF terms. Now, the Guangdong Provincial Department of Education and the EDB signed the letter of intent on qualifications framework cooperation in 2019. According to paragraph 22, it seems that the progress of the collaboration is slow. So in terms of promoting a Guangdong, Hong Kong, Macau mutual qualification recognition system and also the one in GBA, are there short, medium, and long-term targets as well as action plans? Now, to follow up on Mr. Lam Chen Sing's question about the qualification recognition for Tuina and massage. Now, it is categorized as part of the beauty industry, but that is not accurate. tuna is actually a kind of Chinese medical treatment. Now, a tuna masseuse without a qualification would be in breach of the Chinese medicine practitioner ordinance. Now, without a clear qualification system, there are lots of unqualified and unaccredited tuna masseurs. Many of our tuna masseurs got their qualifications from mainland organizations. Now, the Health Bureau is quite concerned about unlicensed personnel providing Chinese medical treatment. So, subsuming tuna under the beauty industry is faulty. It will lead to regulatory loopholes. Under Secretary, thank you, Professor Chan. First, about tuna. There is close collaboration between governmental departments. I will invite Mr. Steve Light from the Qualifications Framework Secretariat to answer this question on the government's work in promoting QFs. First, on the ITAC level, representatives from various bureaus and departments are present in the ITACs. For example, for the elderly care and healthcare industry, we have representatives from the Health Bureau and Social Welfare Department. And also the Civil Service Bureau is present in the ITAC, the relevant ITAC, to ensure consistency with government policies. Many training bodies are within the government are awarded accreditation under the QFs. For example, the training departments in the disciplinary services. In the induction courses under the disciplinary services, many of them have been awarded level 4 or 5 accreditations. Now, I will not elaborate on the usage of QF terms in our job advertisements. In terms of promotional campaign, in 2022, 17 government departments and public bodies were invited to participate in the first round of QF in action. These organizations and government departments were briefed on how QF can be employed to enhance the governance structure as well as the quality of their manpower. On the third question about collaboration between Hong Kong, Guangdong, and Macau on establishing a common QF platform. Starting from 2022, on the invitation of the Guangdong provincial government, the HKCAVQ has been providing a 2-year consultancy service for the Guangdong provincial government. Now, by referencing to our experience, the Guangdong counterpart can learn how we are conducting our experience, our accreditation development and design. Now, last June, the E&M competency standards were set for the Guangdong province. In terms of vocational qualifications, an expert working group was established. A report was published last year. For example, jockeying for horse races. Now, the competency has been included in the Guangdong qualification registered as the first recognized skill. Now, despite the completion of the contract last year, we will still keep in touch with the Guangdong provincial government and enhance the established collaborative platforms so that we can contribute to the development of QFs in GBA and the country. On the third question, I will defer it to Mr. Steve Lai.
Thank you. Professor Chairman Kwong raised a question. I want to first echo the Undersecretary. 23 industries have their respective ITECs. But the ITECs have yet to cover more than 40% of the workforce. That's more than 1 million workers. For the workforce as a whole, they can already take advantage of different measures and tools under the QF framework. For TOENA courses, if you want to put that course under the QF framework, you can go to the HKCA VQ. So there's already a qualification system for that industry. We held meetings with trade associations of the TOENA industry. We have this professional mechanism featuring exams. People pass the exams and they earn a qualification. We're still exploring this approach. We're happy to keep talking to the industry to find out their needs. I want to stress a point here. There are competency units related to TOENA in the beauty industry, but we do not intend to put TOENA under the beauty category. In certain areas of the beauty industry, some form of TOENA is involved. That's why in developing the specification of those competence standards, TOENA is included as part of the information for TOENA. In some industries, they already have a clear idea what their competency standards are. So in that case, you don't need an ITEC to prepare a whole new set of standards from scratch, because in that case, the industry can offer courses based on their own standards, and then they apply for accreditation from the HKCA VQ. Chairman, I don't think Mr. Steve Lai got the point of my question. TOENA is a therapeutic option in Chinese medicine. People have to follow our ordinance on Chinese medicine practitioners to offer the TOENA therapy. TOENA is now included under the beauty industry. We don't have an industry-wide code. We have an ordinance on registered CM practitioners. So TOENA, when offered as a treatment, has to be pursued in line with the law. There's a regulatory regime. So given that, I want to clarify a point. How do you distinguish TOENA from beauty industry and then another one for Chinese medicine? There is no professional registration for specifically for TOENA. There is only a profession known as the CM practitioners. So that's why I asked the question. How do we stamp out those people offering TOENA as a treatment without a license? The ERB and the VTC keep offering courses on TOENA. So many people will end up inadvertently offering TOENA as a treatment, which is an instance of unlicensed practice of medicine. Many people in the CM sector wonder why the VTC and the ERB keep training people to practice something where they actually break the law. Chairman, we will find out more about the current statutory requirements after the meeting, and we will talk to the industry. Mr. Peter Xu. Thank you, Chairman. The QF framework offers a promotion pathway for people. Now, some people don't really have much by way of academic achievements because of various reasons, circumstances, or means, but then they work and they do it for many years. Their competency is recognized. So we recognize those qualifications, even if those are not earned through the academic stream. The QF framework here is helpful. It can help people enhance themselves. At different events, I saw how the Undersecretary and Mr. Steve Lai encouraged people in the industry. Say there are people in hairdressing, retail, the beauty industry. Those people join the workforce at a young age, and then years later, they got recognition under the QF framework. That's a recognition of their competency. With that recognition, they get higher pay and more career options. So that's the whole point about the QF framework. So keep up the work. I'm looking at Annex 2 or Annex B. Many industries are under this mechanism: recognition of prior learning, retail, food and beverage, etc. The results look sensible. 1,900 hairdressing, property management, 11,500 beauty, 4,000 retail, 6,000 applications. I want to find out more about testing and certification. That's run by the Hong Kong University, but only 29 cases were processed. That's something run by the Hong Kong Metropolitan University. And then there's another category, Information and Communications Technology, run by Hong Kong U Space. 25 applications processed. Why such low figures? There's also a figure for the arboriculture and horticulture. I know it's new. It started in 2024, only 90 cases. So my question is, first, for testing, inspection, and certification, that program has been in place for 10 years. Why just 29 cases? And for the ICT scheme, why just 25 cases? Mr. Steve Lai will take those questions. I thank Mr. Peter Shiu for his questions. He's referring to the recognition of prior learning mechanism. Mr. Lai, can you speak into the microphone? I believe Mr. Peter Shiu referred to the recognition of prior learning mechanism under the QF framework. The RPL framework is for practitioners to earn recognition through their experience, or people can take courses. So the RPL mechanism is a support scheme for practitioners to apply for recognition or qualifications. 19 industries are now covered by the RPL scheme. So why do we see more cases in some industries but fewer in other? The QF framework is something industries take part in voluntarily. For some industries, testing, inspection, and certification, few applications came in because most people in that industry already have academic qualifications at level 4 or 5, meaning they already have an associate degree or an undergrad degree, so they have less need for the RPL scheme. The same principle applies for ICT. Practitioners join the trade already with higher academic achievements. But we keep this mechanism in place because we now have applied degrees. There are people with higher levels of education achievement, but then there are also other people whose strong suit lies in their work experience. That's why we keep RPL for those people. Now, A&H, arboriculture, and horticulture, that scheme was put in place only last year. So far, we have only 90 cases. That's not a small number. We look beyond just a number in our QF framework. We want support measures to help practitioners to earn recognition through their work experience. Just then, Professor Chen Ring-Kwong raised a point. Tuina and massaging are put under the beauty industry. I work closely with the beauty industry. The public can tell Tuina and massaging are two distinct matters. For most people, they see massaging as falling under the beauty industry. As for Tuina, people have the impression that may belong to Chinese medicine. People need knowledge in medicine before they can offer Tuina as a treatment. When I visit the CM practitioner, the practitioner tells me Tuina may help me with pain relief. So that CM practitioner tells me about Tuina. But beauty parlors or certain groups claim that they also offer Tuina services. So we need to first clarify where Tuina falls in or fits in. So then we can decide whether Tuina should be part of the QF framework or should be part of the CM system. Undersecretary. I thank Mr. Peter Shiu for his points. I have a similar view as the member, so we will clarify the point with other departments to see how best we should follow up the issue. Mr. Kwok Wai-Keung. For broader coverage of the QF framework and better outcomes, the key lies in employers. Mr. Peter Shiu just praised the framework. But do other bosses or employers share the judgment of Mr. Peter Shiu? That would take more promotion. I know there is publicity in place, but you need to do more. We see results when people with QR recognition see a difference in their pay, and people don't see much of a difference when they have a QF qualification. Employers or prospective employers don't seem to be aware of the QF framework. We now have a University of Applied Sciences, and that's the Hong Kong Metropolitan University. There's agreement that we need to step up education on technical education or technical aspect. So should we also adjust our QF framework to support this transition? Now, paragraph 14 of the paper refers to Annex B. It's about the recognition of prior learning. Altogether, that's more than 40,000 applications. Some schemes were put in place in 2018 or 2008, so it's more than a dozen years. The RPL scheme under the QF framework isn't that attractive, so this is where more work remains to be done. Why is RPL struggling? Why are the figures so low compared to other parts of the QF framework? Can the officials tell us more?
Undersecretary, thank you, Mr. Kwok, for your two questions. First, concerning the developments of the University of Applied Science, There will be two. The first one is the Metropolitan University. The second one is the STFU. Now, after receiving recognition, they have become our first two universities of applied sciences. In the future, we are going to establish the alliance of universities of applied science through international conventions and other outreaching work. The alliance will enhance the understanding of the public on applied sciences. That will be very beneficial for the development of the VPAT pathway in Hong Kong. We have heard views in the past that we should make the articulation ladder of VPAT more comprehensive and holistic. Now, with the UAS and the alliance of UAS, the entire ladder has been made more well-defined. Now, the bachelor degrees offered by UAS is packed with level 5 of the QF. And other courses offered by the UAS, the master and postdoctorate degree offered by UAS is equivalent to levels 6 and 7 under the qualifications framework. In admitting students, VPAT courses do not only focus on the performance of the students in traditional and conventional subjects. So that is similar with the qualifications framework. True, that is not very prominent in the secondary stage. Still, when admitting students, the UAS would consider learning experience outside of classroom in the past. That means that the universities will not only focus on students' performances in written exams, as well as academic achievements. Concerning applications for recognition of prior learning by employees, in some trades, there are established licensing mechanisms. For example, the real estate management industry, automobile maintenance, and so on. For example, in the real estate industry, there is already a licensing body responsible for issuance of license. Prior learning experience also counts for applications for license with these bodies. Now, in certain industries, applications for recognition of prior learning is more prevalent because the licensing bodies in the trade recognize prior learning. And also for new courses, there are fewer applications for prior learning because the course would already offer the participants a QF-recognized qualification. But we look forward to working more closely with the trade to enhance the awareness and understanding of RPL, or recognition of prior learning, in certain trades. Next, Mr. Lai Tung Kwok. Thank you, Chairman. My first question is related to the collaboration with the mainland and external collaboration. Now, in paragraph 21, it mentioned that the country has announced the development of the nation's qualifications framework in the National 13th Five-Year Plan in 2016. And in 2019, a letter of intent on qualifications framework cooperation has been signed between Hong Kong and the Guangdong Department of Education. In 2022, the contract of HKCAVQ with the Guangdong province began, and then it was completed already. Now, GBA development is a major national development. For Hong Kong residents to work in the mainland cities of the Bay Area. Fair qualifications attained in Hong Kong must be recognized by the mainland authorities. That is very important. On the other hand, many one-way permit holders come to Hong Kong on a daily basis. Do their qualifications receive the same level of recognition in Hong Kong? That is also very important. But disappointingly, there is no mentioning of these in the paper. Besides the consultancy contract with the Guangdong provincial government, there is little else. So what plans do you have to promote mutual recognition of qualifications gained on Hong Kong or the mainland? So that residents on both sides can find an appropriate job when they move. Now, paragraph 24 in the paper. Now, according to Annex 2, about your past efforts in promoting recognition of prior learning mechanism, it seems that you have spent a lot of efforts in this in the past few years, but in the more recent years, it seems that the number of applications has dropped significantly. Now, there is a fund, the QF fund, with a capital amount of $2.2 billion. Now, after all the years, it still has a balance of $2.53 billion. In other words, you have saved up quite a lot with the accumulated interest over the years. Now, by simple math, $574 million of total expenditure over the past, the balance is quite a lot. It can it is sufficient for 4 to 5 years operations or 6 to 7 years operation. So would you consider allowing the governments to claw back some money from the fund to address the liquidity issue of the government? Undersecretary. Thank you, Mr. Lai, for your questions. Concerning allowing development of qualification frameworks with the country, especially in Guangdong, we attach importance to enhancing the connectivity within the GBA. There are various layers. Now, concerning QF Level 5 courses, the government has signed a MOU with the Ministry of Education to streamline the procedures for mutual recognition of post-secondary qualifications with the country. Now, for bachelor degree holders, the procedure for applying for further study in mainland institutions has been streamlined. So there is already a MOU on this. Ms. Lai mentioned about our work in sub-degree programs, we will pursue joint developments on this front with the mainland authorities. Now, concerning collaboration with the Guangdong provincial government, the HKCAVQ is working closely with the Credit Management Center for lifelong learning courses, as well as other authorities, with a view to expanding the breadth and width of the collaboration, as well as digitizing the whole thing. Now, on the other hand, the Guangdong Qualification Recognition Center is yet to be established. As a result, the function of the future center is now being performed by the Credit Management Center for lifelong learning. Now, in terms of learning credits in different trades, a mechanism has been established. We will make sure that we keep in close touch with the Guangdong provincial government. On Mr. Lai's second question about the usage of the QF fund, starting from the establishment of the fund in September 2014, a number of measures and programs were launched under the fund. Mr. Lai is right. In recent years, because of the completion of some pilot schemes as well as the establishment of IDACs under the fund, the expenditure under the fund has been reduced. However, today many members mentioned that we need to achieve the targets set in the policy address for promoting the QF system. And also, we need to step up our promotional efforts to enhance awareness and recognition of QF in the public's mind. Many invaluable views were put forward today. That's why we're going to make better utilization of the fund to enhance our work. Now, it's worth mentioning that the alliance of UAS was established last year. Many members correctly pointed out that VPAT plays an important role in establishing Hong Kong's position as an international education hub. Now, with the alliance of UAS, there will be more collaboration and promotional efforts with overseas bodies. We look forward to attracting international education conventions to be held in Hong Kong. So the QF Fund will support our work in these areas. Now it is my turn. Two simple questions. One about the single examination, multiple qualification system in the Bay Area. What is our role in establishing these GPA standards? Now, with the GPA standards, we can facilitate the flow of talents within the Bay Area. Second, about QFs and mutual recognition. The Social Welfare Bureau has an important role to play, especially the ELB under the purview of the LWB. Now, you are the standard setter, and the LWB and the ERB is responsible for designing the courses, but you have different standards. So are there inconsistencies between the two bodies, and how are you streamlining the mechanism?
Thank you. First, on the OEMC system. Each exam is unique. So recognition of each exam works differently. for some professional exams, such as those for legal practitioners, Hong Kong's legal practitioners can set those exams for practice in the mainland. The context of each industry is unique. So we have to approach the matter on a case-by-case basis. The Education Bureau also has to talk to different departments, different bodies. The second question from the chairman is about the dialogue between the LWB and the Education Bureau, and also the role of the ERB. Well, we work closely together. Institutions run QF courses. There are many such institutions. These institutions vary in size. Some are long-standing providers of course providers. So the EREDB has an existing line of communication with those institutions. They may be public universities or private institutions. Now, I turn to the Employees Retraining Board. The Education Bureau also maintains close contact with the ERB. Members of ITEX get involved in the ERB and also on those ITEX. On the course offerings of the ERB, those courses recognize QF qualifications as prerequisites for their own courses or for people seeking to qualify as instructors for ERB courses. ERB courses also get QF recognition. Those courses are also covered by the CEF, or Continuing Education Fund. We will continue to work with the LWB in promoting the QF framework, and we will promote the recognition of the QF framework. Dr. Johnny Ng. Today, the discussion is about the QF framework. Different industries have their own respective structures. Take in emerging industries such as Web3. People wonder if we should have qualifications frameworks for these emerging industries to attract talent and also to help us offer courses for people, whether young people or existing practitioners, to enhance themselves. So for new industries, can different bureaus come together to put in place such frameworks? So that we can promote those industries and professions. Undersecretary. Web3 is an area where we work closely with the ITIB on. The member mentioned new technologies such as artificial intelligence. Under the QF, there are several generic competencies: English, Chinese, numeracy, and information technology. We have the specification of generic foundation competencies, or SGCs. So industries can consider their requirements in setting standards, and these SGCs can support those industry standards or industry competencies. Technology moves by leaps and bounds. ITEX look at the latest technology and determine whether there's a need to update their SGCs or SCSs. so that the continuing education courses can better meet industry needs. Now, speaking for the second round, Ms. Lillian Kwok, Professor Chairman Kwok. We have time constraints here, so let's do 2 minutes for each member. Thank you, Chairman. I raised a question about secondary schools and special schools. The QF is widely in use in relation to those schools. But the question is about assessment and evaluation. We don't have a diverse range of evaluation methods. There are many students struggling with dyslexia. Writing-based evaluation will set these students up for failure. These students have no trouble with comprehending a test paper or offering or giving short responses. They're fine with multiple choice questions, but they struggle with the writing, so they cannot get the qualification. So let's bear in mind social developments and also integrated education. Let's look at figures from the US. More than 70% of the incarcerated population in the US have special educational needs. So in our VQPs, can we offer support in the form of different ways of evaluation? Some people may simply want to become a kitchen worker. They simply have to be able to recognize the ingredients and how to prepare them. They don't need to be good at writing an exam. So can we need a wider range of evaluation tools? Now, starting from 2008, we have had the recognition of prior learning. Have we reviewed the list? Are there courses that are no longer here? As Professor Chairman Kwong said, we have to see the name of the courses. Tuina and massaging are put together often. But most often it's just about massaging. And you can tell when you look at the name of the course. Undersecretary, let's get Professor Chen to ask his questions and then you can offer a consolidated reply. Professor Chen, thank you. I want to ride on Mr. Peter Shiu's point. It's about telling between Tuina and massaging. On the 31st of October, I put in a council meeting question. It was an oral question. Pure massaging is not subject to regulation by medicine-related laws. So in other words, Tuina is regulated by the law. For CM colleges in the mainland, Tuina is an area of specialty. There are folk areas of acupuncture and Tuina which are a field in postgraduate studies. It's not like anyone can offer Tuina. There's the CM practitioner ordinance, and there are university disciplines on Tuina. If you offer that in VTC or as vocational training, you cause confusion. Undersecretary. I thank Ms. Kwok for her questions and Professor Chen for his comments. There are students with special educational needs. There is accommodation for such students. The education has been pursuing efforts on this front. When students with SEN are evaluated, they can apply for accommodation. Ms. Kwok commented on evaluation under QF courses. Course design takes into account the different learning needs of students. Not every course has students with SEN, but when there are students with SEN, flexibility in evaluation is something that course providers consider. Take the VTC as an example. The VTC has quite a number of students with SEN, so the VTC does pay attention to this. On VPAT at the secondary level, applied learning subjects are a key area. For applied learning, the learning hours are 180 hours, no exams, so it's not about written evaluation. So there won't be a written test to assess students' performance. Ms. Kwok also mentioned reviewing or updating the courses. We look beyond just the name of a course. We also look at the content. We move with the times, with the courses. There are courses closely related to where the workplace is going. Those courses are being updated constantly. I also thank Professor Chen Kwong for his comment about Tuina as a discipline. Indeed, it's a specialized area. I thank Professor Chen for his comment. I'm also learning about new things. In my capacity, it's also part of lifelong learning. Chairman, a quick comment. I see the steering committee. There are secondary school heads on the committee. So in the years to come, can we also put a professional in integrated or special education on that committee? Now, there's a QF fund with sitting on top of more than $2 billion. Can we put that fund to use to help students with SEN at secondary school levels? So, Undersecretary, please note the comment. Any other business, we should have in front of us an updated list of items for discussion. The Secretariat will also circulate that among members. Our next meeting will be in March. We will hold a joint meeting with the Subcommittee on Population Policy and Measures. We will be discussing the manpower projection. Once we work out a date and time for the meeting, we will let members know. There being no other business, I adjourn the meeting here. Thank you.